What's up, Internet? Ryan Stevens, aka Coach Thanos, black belt here at Graybeard Forge MMA, combatives black belt. Trained combatives for military and law enforcement over 20 years, and we started a series called Black Belt, White Belt, because sometimes I think we overlook some of the details, the basic details that white belts ask. We just assume. Like sometimes when somebody comes in, they just automatically want to walk on the mats with their shoes. They don't know the rules. And so we partnered up to answer some of those questions.
Question today is, man, how do you know when you find a good gym, or how to find a good gym? I mean, because I Google, it's like there's so many gyms, you know, and some, I've gotten beaten up at some gyms.
Yeah. I think we've all been beaten up at gyms.
Fresh meat, you know, and also some that I felt like they just want my money. And some I just feel like, you know.
So how do you know when you find a good gym?
Besides it being clean.
So, dude, is there a video on the internet about that? That is a great question. So here's what I have. I've been thinking about this a long time. Never been able to answer the question. But I think there's some basic rules you should do. One, you should walk into the gym, it should smell and look clean. If it doesn't smell and look clean, there's common things that happen on the mat like ringworm, infections. You want the place to look and smell clean. They need to be cleaning the mats every time. The place should not just smell like an old school wrestling gym, like a 1981 wrestling gym. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it should look and smell clean. Second thing I think you should do is have a conversation with the lead black belt. Whoever's in charge of the gym, runs the gym, do they have an ego? I think that's a big thing, is asking them, do they have an ego? Because if the organization will take on the personality of the leader. And if the head black belt has an ego and is an egomaniac, the class is likely to have an egomaniac, and it's a place you don't want to get hurt. Does that make sense? So you want to have a conversation and ask them, where do they have their degrees? Where did they learn? What's their background? Like for me, a lot of my students are law enforcement because I am in law enforcement, and I can speak to that when we're doing jiu-jitsu. It's about the concepts and context. I'll teach about jiu-jitsu, and then I'll say, hey, for my cops in the room, here's the legal liability, or here's what happens if they grab your kit or your gun. So a lot of people will come to me because I'm law enforcement. So you need to ask the instructor, you know, what's their background, what's their philosophy? And if there's any ego, you should run. Another thing you should do is you should look at the class. What does the class body look like? When you walked in, did you look like shark bait? You know, if you look like shark bait, that's probably the wrong, you know, gym to be in. Is because you're likely to get hurt.
Like, what about if you're old, like me?
Yeah, exactly. So a good example is if they don't treat you according to your age, or what we call social intelligence in the gym. Social intelligence is how making other people feel. You know, in our gym, what we do is we actually are verbal with the mat. So when we start to roll, I'll say, hey, 1 is super slow-mo, like VHS slow-mo. 10 is a UFC fight. Where do you want to go? And they'll say, I'd like a 3 today. Now, if they ask for a 3 and I give them a 7, I'm a jerk. Does that make sense? So there's a social intelligence of how we treat people, because some people might be coming in injured and we don't want to injure them or hurt them. Or some people might be dealing with gunshots going off in our head. You know, we train veterans here and they have gunshots going on. Last thing we want to do is come in, beat them up, and send them on their way. So does the gym look clean? Does it smell clean? What are the coaches' credentials? What's their philosophy? And do they have an ego? The student base, how are they treating each other? Does it look like a family, or does it look like a shark tank? Because if it's a shark tank, you're probably just the new fresh meat that's likely to get hurt. High turnover. You want a place that looks like a family, a good culture where they're taking care of each other. So that's the big thing that you want to look through on the gym, you know, and make sure it meets your criteria too. You know, there should be no awkwardness. You should feel like a family there. I remember when I first came, kind of a cool story if you don't mind me telling. I remember when I first started jiu-jitsu, it was in Southern California. I walked in the gym and I was training at a Gracie Baja gym in Oceanside, California, back when I was in the Marine Corps, right? Back when I was 205, twisting steel and sex appeal, right? I walked into a gym and the owner looked at me and he said, "Hey, boy, we've been waiting on you." And I was like, Me? He's like, yeah, boy, we've been waiting on you. Welcome, come in. So I felt welcome right off the bat. Gym smelled good, looked clean. He put his arm around me. Hey, this is my friend. What's your name? And I was like, Ryan. He's like, hey, Ryan. Welcome. Everybody say hi, Ryan. You know? And then he put me with somebody who showed me all the rules. Hey, here's how to tie your belt. Here's don't walk on the mat with your shoes because we don't want to get infection. Like, and showed me all the rules. That is a gym you want to be a part of versus you walk in, dude, and I love Pantera, but Pantera's playing, people are getting knocked out, there's blood. You know, it's just like, I don't know if this is the right gym for me. So the biggest thing is walk in. Also ask for, hey man, can I get a free mat session? Mm-hmm. Can I come in and see what this is about and check the vibe? Does that make sense?
Yeah, privates definitely.
Yeah, and talking to the coach. So those are the things that I would challenge you. Does the gym look clean, smell clean? Because you want to stay away from infections. Check the coach, talk to the coach. They meet your training goals. Some people want to train to be competitors. Some people want to train for therapy. Some people want to train because they were a victim of a crime and they want to regain their empowerment back. What is the coach's values? Because the worst thing to do is come to a gym where you just want to come for therapy and the gym is all about, you know, winning comp medals. You know, some gyms don't care about that. So, and then lastly, check the student base. Is the student base protecting each other or are they eating each other? Once you find that, if you find a gym that meets those 3 criteria, sign up. It's going to be your home. It'll be an amazing place. You can also reach out to me, and I train all over the United States. I train with a lot of coaches. I can point you to a place if you need. There's a lot of references for really, really good gyms and gyms I haven't found yet. So kind of answer your question?
Great answer.
Yeah, cool. Hey, white belt, black belt series, tune in. We got more videos.